Well, welcome to Tuesday's hymn. Today I want to look at one that spans 350 years. In the sense not that we just use it now, but there are people still writing music and using the words in a modern vein now. You'll see what I mean. This hymn was written in 1664, initially by a Puritan who changed his mind because he lost his living as a result of being a Puritan vicar in 1662, and his name was Samuel Crossman. And you'll know it as soon as I play the tune. It's My Song is Love Unknown. Samuel Crossman writes the words, and really when you look at his other poetic work, you'd be forgiven to miss it because there isn't an awful lot of it. This is the thing really that he wrote. And it goes the same with the tune. The tune is called Love Unknown. And hey, do you think those two are connected some way or another? Answer yes. And that is because John Ireland, who wrote the tune, wrote it for that hymn. But when did John Ireland write it? He doesn't write it in 1664 or 1668 or something like that. He writes that tune in 1925. And it first appears in a hymn book. I remember my father had a blue copy of it called Songs of Praise. So John Ireland's tune, which we know so well, that goes so well with the hymn, which we know so well, the two come together in 1925, a poem and a tune, and suddenly it becomes a hymn that people want to sing. It's the perfect combination here. It was said of John Ireland, who, although he was a very excellent musician, didn't seem to compose a great deal. It was said of him that he only writes when the Spirit moves. Well, I think he wrote this tune when the Spirit moved him, because the two go together so well. But I did say it spans 350 years, and that's because those of you who are fans of the rock band Coldplay may or may not know, and Coldplay is one of the rock bands that has sold more records than anyone else. I think 100 million albums have been sold. That one of their albums is called X and Y. And in the middle of that album is a song called Love Unknown. And if you listen to the words of Coldplay, you will realise that they have taken much of those words from Samuel Crossman's text. So it has lived over 350 years in different ways, and is still alive in people's minds today, even in a rock band's mind, which is rather good. So just have a quick look at the words. They are beautiful words, and they are not words that require some kind of deep theology in them. They are gentle and sweet. They tell a story. They are a person talking about himself and his own faith and his own relationship, really, with God. My song is Love Unknown. It's an interesting start, isn't it? because you want to say, well, what is this unknown love that you're talking about? And he answers it in the next line, it's my Saviour's love to me. It's the love of God to each of us is something which is in some real sense unknowable, because it is so profound and great, but B, this is God at work in our hearts and doing things that we may never even know about in our lives. My song is Love Unknown, my Saviour's love to me. Love to the loveless. He's talking about himself, but he's talking about others as well, that they might lovely be. What a lovely play on love, loveless and lovely, all in those 4 lines. And then the kind of question that is asked in, and can it be that I should gain? Oh, who am I that for my sake my Lord should take frail flesh and die? It's similar to the beginning of Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me. And then the story. He came from his blessed throne, salvation to bestow, but men made strange. And you're into 17th century language here, which is a bit more complex than language that we would find today. But men made strange is a peculiar phrase, for example, and none the longed for Christ would know. But oh, my friend indeed, who at my need his life did spend. Sometimes they strew his way, and his sweet praises sing, resounding all the day, hosannas to the King, Palm Sunday. Then crucify is all their breath, and for his death they thirst and cry. It's a good example of a poetic system here, where the first line doesn't rhyme with the third line and the second line with the fourth line, but the first line rhymes with the fourth line and the second and third line rhyme together. And our minds like it. Then crucify is all their breath, and for his death they thirst and cry. And of course he does that throughout the whole of the hymn, and that works very well. The first 4 lines of each verse, though, are 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. The second 4 lines are 1 and 4 and 2 and 3. Why? What hath my Lord done? What makes this rage and spite? And then the irony. He made the lame to run. He gave the blind their sight. Why could there be rage and spite as a result of that? Sweet injuries. Yet they at these themselves displease, and gainst him rise. And then taking that word rise into the next verse, they rise, and needs will have my dear Lord made away. A murderer they save, and the Prince of Life they slay. Yet cheerful he to suffering goes, that he his foes from thence might free. And then a kind of reflection on it in verse 6. In life no house, no home my Lord on earth might have. In death no friendly tomb, but what a stranger gave. What may I say? Heaven was his home, but mine the tomb wherein he lay. That's a picture of this man who was went to a stranger's tomb, is actually now in heaven, whereas we, by comparison, are in the tomb. the hymn is full of this irony, the contradictions, that the tensions that feature, I suppose, in Christianity. And then that last verse, which brings the whole lot together in a beautiful wholeness, I think. Here might I stay and sing. No story so divine, never was love, dear King, never was grief like thine. This is my friend, in whose sweet praise I all my days could gladly spend. Lovely hymn.